Believe we are live. Welcome everybody back to the shit show. We are back today. Um, Little hiatus. I for days, 4 days. I was trying to get Drew and myself back on to do a stream on a different night, and it just one thing after another. We could not. It was like something was always in the way. So that said, hang tight for 1 second. Lord, guide my words tonight. Help us do your will now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
All right. There's there's a lot of different things that I think we could be talking about, um, and it's hard to know where to start. But there's this consistent theme that keeps from like different places that it's just like popping up. Um, have you heard about the scientists, Drew? Like the 11 scientists that went missing?
No, I did not actually.
Yeah, it's that's the weirdest thing because I think like if you're on X or Twitter a lot, you probably see it, and if you're not, you probably don't. But just
What
as
type
of like
what type of
what?
scientists are we talking about? Like,
Well, hold on, wait. I'm gonna get to this. So I'll bring something up so that you can see it too. So like just today, I seen, and they may have done this before this, but just today now, they are reporting it on Fox News too. So these scientists, um, they have something to do with like anti gravity. I don't even know. It's like nuclear physicists, anti gravity, alternative, alternative. I want to say like fuel type of things. Like they're talking about going through wormholes. Like the people that study physics and nuclear technology. 11 of them have gone missing, and some, well, here's what I'll say, missing and dead. So a few of them are actually dead. Um, Hang on 1 minute. I'm going to bring this up so you can see. There's this post is actually pretty good because it has the information of like um, when they died. So hang on. You see all these
yeah,
people here on the screen?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, this is from one of them's from 2022, 23, 24, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 26, 26, 26. Um, it's if one or two of them, if something happened to them, it would be like, wow, that's pretty strange. But when you, over just a couple of years, this many have had something happen to them. It points to something. And now you just getting familiar with this without any more context than this. What do you think?
Uh, I believe once or twice is a coincidence, but when you have these kind of numbers, this is obviously a intentional trend. There's no way, and I'm looking at the photos, and without knowing any background, we got some varying ages, and these people don't look like it. They would all be dying of old age or something where there's any other excuse other than something funny's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the only consistency in the theme is that they were in nuclear space programs.
And I see
Um,
it says tied to NASA, and I actually have a NASA video pulled up. It's not a NASA video; it's somebody who made a collage about NASA. But again, we could get to that later. But I see there's a connection there.
yeah. Yeah. Something very strange is happening. So I'm. This is very like I've done no research into this, so I'm just I'm just shooting from the hip on this. But it's definitely a pattern, and the pattern speaks to it's something nefarious, and it obviously has something to do with the tech that they were involved in. The question is basically who, right? Um, because I guess let's put it this way: if you're on the cusp of introducing alternative technology that would make, say, oil or gas go to the wayside, that might be a reason to, get rid of some people, which I think we've known in the past that that has happened. Like they'll even buy tech. Like there's cars that can run on um, water. It turns it into hydrogen. Um,
Mm.
Meaty, what's up, brother? No, nobody else is here. You know what else is strange? I don't know if I pissed JC off or if he just doesn't appreciate the show at all, but I haven't seen him in the comment section in some time. Uh, so yeah, that's very weird. Um, I see we take 1 week off and nobody shows up. That's just great. Uh, well, Meaty, here's the thing. I was waiting for a couple people to file in, but we're still going to do banger bucks. So, you know, a dollar or two Rumble rant, talk some shit, and whoever gets the best one, that's an imitation. Imitation. Um, Whoever gets the best one gets $10. If you're the only one that shows up tonight and you say something, you're going to get $10. So there's that.
I think
Um,
it's all gonna be meat today.
Maybe. Um, Drew, did you want me to add this thing you were talking about?
Yeah, we could. Is it something I got to do or something
Hang
you?
on, I'll add
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I think you might have to play it though.
All right, let's see if I got the power over here. Oh, I got to go to the actual video. Hold on, let's see where the hell was I? Uh,
Okay.
Here it is. Here it is.
Dead air, dead air. Is this supposed to have audio?
Uh, it's just music.
I've seen this guy before. Is this a first for you? Seeing these
No, no,
images?
not a first, but this is just like an updated kind of this new moon thing.
The NASA symbol, like, I don't know if he brings this up, but there's two red stripes, and some people say that that's a forked tongue. One side of the tongue goes on one side of the NASA logo, and the other one goes on the other side of the NASA logo. Some people say that's a forked tongue. So I
I
don't know if
wouldn't
you've
doubt it.
seen that yet or not.
No, no, I don't think this video.
Hugh, what's up, brother? See, thank God some people are following in. We take off 1 week and nobody shows up anymore. Um, okay, I get. Are you good with that then?
Yeah, that was just like a little 20-second clip that
Okay,
just
all
kind of
right.
fitted.
Um,
Uh,
yeah, no, it's good.
Seconds.
Do you have other stuff that because you said you had a couple things. So if anything you want to put in the magazine, load it up down there at the bottom, and I'll bring it up if you know if it's something that needs to be brought up.
Okay, yeah, there's a bunch of things randomly. Uh, Cubertimo, what's up, brother?
Hey, listen. Again, I guess I'll just keep reiterating. We're still doing banger bucks. Talk shit. Put a dollar or two in. Win $10. All two of you. um, so like this is I've been debating on whether or not I should actually bring this up. Um, oh shit, he's been sick. He got the vid. He got the COVID.
Uh,
Stay out of the bathhouses. It usually keeps the AIDS away and stops you from getting sick. No, but for real though, like yeah, right. See, right on cue, right there. AIDS. Uh, Ivermectin. Here's something I learned. Um, it, a lot of people get sick, including myself, until I discovered this. You get more sick than you normally would have if you have parasites. Does that make sense? So, like, your immune system's already somewhat compromised from having parasites in your body. Now, ivermectin won't cure your sickness, but it can make your. Hang on one second, bastard. Um, it will. I guess here, put it like this: your body's trying to fight off uh, parasites. Part of what makes you sick from parasites is they're excreting things in you. You know, they eat you and then they shit stuff out. So that's also making you sick. So your immune system is trying to combat that, and then something else gets introduced. A cold or something like that. So you get hit hard. So when you take your medicine for whatever your symptoms are, for whatever you're sick for, if you take ivermectin along with it and kill off the parasites, allegedly, this is not medical advice, that it will help. It's helped me. I didn't even know about that before. So just for whatever it's worth. Yeah, yeah, rectal. Right, right. Um, so yeah, I mean, for whatever it's worth, that shit does it does work. Like it really does. There's ivermectin. If you like, I usually try to take a course of it every 6 months or so, and I haven't been sick since. Like since I started doing it. You get little like the other day I didn't feel great, but I wasn't sick. You know what I'm saying? So, Jenny, long time no see, Jenny. Glad you're here. Um, I'm just going to try and catch people up. I guess this is going to be a repeated pattern of me saying this as people file in. We're doing a thing called Banger Bucks, meaning that if you go Rumble Rant $1 or two, whatever minimum amount you want to, um, talk shit on somebody, something, a banger. Um, and whoever has the best one at the end of the show, I'll PayPal you $10 at the end of the show. If we pull in an exorbitant amount of money, I'll split it with you. But I mean, as of now, you throw up a few bucks if you want to say a thing. If it's funny enough, PayPal you $10. Okay, I think that's pretty cool. I know I would have been involved if other people were doing it. So when I thought of it, I was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Just for whatever it's worth. I'm not trying to make money off anybody. I don't really care about that. It's just about having fun. Like I'm not trying to get anybody to send money so I can make something. Just for whatever it's worth, in case people get that idea. I just thought it'd be fun to do. Anyway, so I I keep seeing a pattern, especially on X, and Drew, like I've said this to you before, and you've seen this before, but the idea of some of the things that are in the book of Enoch, I don't know how to put this. Enoch is now going mainstream. Um, Congresswoman, ex stripper, whatever the hell, Luna something. She's on Joe Rogan talking about the book of Enoch. There's other people referring to the book of Enoch. Why is the book of Enoch important? Well, that story is the idea that it was the explanation that the angels fell, mated with human women, and had offspring, which were the giants, aka the Nephilim. Um, I'm questioning my belief in that now because it's going mainstream. When things like that go mainstream, it's for a reason. I don't know what the reason is yet, but since they're talking all this alien stuff, I've said in the past, aliens are demons. Um, I don't know how this ties in. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but my alarm is going off, if that makes any sense. I'm looking at it and I'm like, this isn't, something's happening. They're co-opting this story for some reason, and I don't really know why they want to. Um, I don't know how else to put that, but that said, I brought that up in part because I was helping my uncle out on his property on Sunday, the last Sunday that passed, and I have a cement mixer, so I took it up there so that it could make the job easier. He was setting posts to hang a gate, and hit, from what I can tell, his belief system has come a long way as far as like actually being a part of like believing in God. You know, like especially like boomers, you know, like yeah, God, whatever, sure. And then that's it. That's pretty much all you get from them. But I feel like he's getting a little bit older. He's seen enough. He's learned some things. He's realized that, you know, there's more to it. And we were having a conversation about God and religion in general. And you know, he's like the Catholic Church. He's like, I think it's a big scam. And I'm like, yeah, 501c3. I mean, it's about money, but you know, that doesn't mean that you can't, that good things can't come from it. But I asked him about if he ever heard of the Nephilim, and he looked at me with this weird look, like I was speaking a different language. And I was like, the Nephilim, you've never heard that before, because I don't know how much time he's invested in looking into scripture, right? Because I think like once you see enough, you know God exists, right? I mean, that's pretty baseline, I would assume. You can be an atheist early on, but I think eventually, if you have any IQ at all, you have to start to realize that God is real, because like it presents itself in everybody's life in different ways that it could only mean one thing, if you get what I'm saying. Does that make sense, Drew?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get what you're saying. And I'm trying to picture the look on your uncle's face. He must have been like, it got real sci-fi for him real quick.
Yeah, yeah. Um, no, go ahead, keep going. Keep
Yeah,
going.
you know, I was just reading the
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
put up on the same. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, you know, when they put certain stuff in the mainstream, I feel like at least in previous timelines in our life, the things that they bring to the forefront are distractions, and the things that they don't acknowledge are usually the things that you should be paying attention to and that are probably more real and hold more weight. So when they start kind of, I guess, shifting it into the mainstream to, I guess, control the narrative, yeah, my antennas go up. It's hard to say to what extent, or maybe it's at a point where it's like the cat's out of the bag in some sort of way. Let's embrace it and try to put our twist on it so we can control the narrative, because people are starting to realize what it is, and you know, who really knows what's what until, you know, it's revealed. But those are all the places my mind goes when shit like that comes into the mainstream. Like, all
Yeah,
right, is
yeah.
this on purpose? Is this them
Yep.
trying to get in front of the bullet because they know it's coming, and them trying to, I guess, steer it in a way that they can control the narrative going forward, or what? You know?
I mean, I agree with you. We're definitely on the same page. So first of all, I'm just going to read Q's comment here. I felt that way about things that went mainstream before Stacks, and it makes me wonder: is it to detour people like us who've been on the theories while mainstream feeds the public a bunch of slop? Um, well said.
Yeah.
That said, I don't. Well, I mean, yeah, since Q, I don't either. I don't either. I grew up in the Catholic Church, and it wasn't by choice. At one point, before I got in so much trouble when I was younger because I had such a crazy childhood that my parents, I didn't know this until way later, but they quit paying the tuition for years, and I never knew anything about it, but they let me stay in the school. But I was a very troubled young kid, and by seventh grade, I was stealing shit. Like, I literally would take money out of the teachers' purses. I'm not, like, I'm just telling you the truth. But I was in the organized religion from an early age, and there's a level of programming that goes along with it. I don't know how to put this, but it's like this is why I didn't want my kids in public schools
I, I,
because
I don't mean to
go
cut
ahead.
you off
Go
because
ahead. Go ahead.
I,
Go ahead.
I went to public school, private school. I got thrown out of private school. I went to like 4 or 5 different high schools. It got to the point. It was junior year, Catholic school, high school, and some kids from another neighborhood. I had a beef with one of them. They came up at the end of the school year with finals, and it was all like the final tests. And he came with like 40 of his friends, and me and like 12 of my friends. Like I beat the shit out of the kid in front of the school, and a lot of his friends got back down. Long story short, they turned around and told my parents that my attendance was no longer required for the following year, because in the mix, the guidance counselor, assistant principal came out to try to break it up. I guess I accidentally elbowed one of them. Long story short, I feel like religious institutions like that, being on that side and then being in the public school, and I went to some really bad public schools where NYPD is roaming the hallways with the baby blue bulletproof vests and the metal detector wands, randomly searching people. You know, it was all Bloods and God bodies, like all the gangs in there. And the way the teaching was, the religious aspect in the Catholic schools, I feel like it's like any good idea. Like there's truth to it, but humans find way to weaponize it and make it more cultist and taint the purity of it, like the church and the Vatican or whatever you want to say. So there's like a pure intent, there's a pure religious belief, a pure religious stance, and then men come along, fuck it all up, and twist it to kind of use it as a tool to do shit that pollutes the narrative of like what the point is of why you're attending a private or Catholic school. And I kind of noticed it as I got older and I reflected back. So just putting validity to what you said about like how it's like a game going on. There's a facade and they're using it as a shield to indoctrinate or do whatever the hell they got going on. And it's a real thing. It's a very, very real thing.
I often try to describe this to people that maybe they get a little bit of what you and I are trying to say, or maybe they're just like, no, this is the one true religion. So first of all, I'll just say like the problem for me is that I've looked like thoroughly looked for a place to call home, and I can't find one that I can like point at and say that's the one I belong in. Because there's such a range of stuff that I don't agree with. Like even the Catholic Church, like they're supposed to take orders from the Pope. Well, listen to the Pope. Does it sound like he's saying things that I agree with? No. I mean, can you find community and God in your own small church that might be Catholic? Yeah, sure. But these are the things that drive me away from it. And just to kind of explain what you're saying and what I mean is that the way that these religions are used in my eyes is the same way that this is a great movie for anyone that hasn't seen it, but The Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. And because the storyline is that the bad guy wants the last Bible in the world. He's the bad guy. Why does he want the last Bible in the world? Well, because if you control the word of God, then you can twist it to your own needs, right? God told me to tell you to do X, Y, Z, right? Like this is how cults are started, right? There's one guy.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
It's a form of control mechanism. It's a
Right.
tool to be used to suck people in and have subjugate them in a sense.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying about like this is one bad guy in a movie, but that would be micro. Now macro would be to me is like all of these organized religions doing something similar. So that's why I can't really find a home in any of these places because it's just like the message sounds good to some of them, and then I'm like, yeah, but this, yeah, but that, and I can't co-sign that. Like gay marriage in the Catholic Church. No, 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 no. Gay marriage or rainbow flags outside. Being okay with abortion. Some of them are actually okay with abortion. And this is different facets from different places. It's not all of them, but it's just sort of what you see. And I'm like, I don't I'm not co-signing that. So I was saying all of that because he brought that stuff up, and um, like not ever. He went to Catholic school too. He went to Catholic school when he was a kid. I'm pretty sure they graduated all the way through school. You want to hear a funny story? You know where I got my confirmation at?
Where is that?
Jail. Ain't
Out
that
of all,
crazy?
out of all places, an unlikely place.
Yeah, they had the cardinal come in, and if you were Catholic and you were incarcerated, and you had already gone through, because there's multiple steps to get confirmed, baptism, and then there's all the other things that are in between. Um, for me at the time, it was just about the food that they were handing out. Um, I always felt like it was like I was one step away from this confirmation, which is like that means you're full fledged, right? Um, that mattered a little bit in the comparison to that the they had food, outside food, a banquet, and I was like, well, yeah, let's kill two birds, right? Um, but I don't. The thing that bothers me is that I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing in the long run, right? Like, you know, I that's the stuff that I struggle with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For anybody that doesn't know, I have a story in my past that most people wouldn't believe, and it's in the works now. I'm trying to figure something out on how to tell it. Because people that know me, matter of fact, just to put the plug in, next week I have an attorney friend, Mike Garamita. He's going to come on the show, hang out, and talk with us. He has a lot of really cool stories, funny stories, uh, especially about the stuff that goes on in the courtrooms, behind the scenes. And he's honest to God, you can't say this about a lot of attorneys, but I trust that dude. He's a like that's not, you don't find a trustworthy lawyer often. So that said, the idea that I want to relay what my past was like is hard to do, uh, because it's so intense that it's almost hard to believe. Now, Mike is privy to this stuff, and he was the one that brought it to my attention and said, you should write a book because of everything that you've been through, which most people don't live through, and come out on the other side and be a completely different person. Like as I look back now, I can't believe the mindset that I had. I'm not proud of it. Like none of this is to say, yeah, Q, he's not Jewish. He's Italian. Uh, when I look back and I think about some of the things that I did and what I've seen, I don't have any regrets. Regrets. Remember that tattoo? Regrets. I don't have any regrets because I believe that I needed to go through that in order to be here. Or I could have just been some mediocre punk that never tried to do anything of any value, um, and just became another cog in the wheel of the system. Um, that might have been the alternative if I didn't go through all of this. Steel sharpens steel. You need heat to make a blade, right? There's all of these analogies, and that's the
Pressure,
way that I look at it. I
pressure
think that
form diamonds and all that shit.
pressure diamonds, yeah, right. Uh, so when I say that, it's like, so for at least the last 15 years or so, um, I've been on a journey of like trying to find where I fit in as far as religion, and I haven't found one. What I do know is that in my personal experience, I know that God exists because of things that have happened to me that can only be attributed to God. There's again, I'm trying to save it for the story, but like I should not be alive. That's not a joke. That's not an exaggeration. I should not be alive. And because I am, I'm trying to use this opportunity to do as much good as I can with the time that I have left because of how bad I was in the past. It's almost like I feel like I owe, if that makes any sense. So that said, I don't feel like I belong in any organized religion, but I know God is real. I believe in Christ. I believe in the teachings, but there's not a religion that I can associate with because the 501c3 system is designed and revolves around money. And they will like look at COVID like I remember having this conversation with my one aunt, and she said the churches were closed. I said that's the one place that should be open, but do you know why they were closed? Because they wouldn't be able to be a 501c3, get all of these tax breaks, money, unless they complied. So that's too much of a compromise for me. I can't associate with that. No. If you were a church that stayed open during COVID, I want to hear from you. That's what I'm talking about. But from what I'm where I'm at right now is that I feel like maybe they say two or three gathered in my name. I'm good with that for now. If you and I and whoever might be listening uh, are gathered in his name, um, then this is my church for now. This is where I belong because this is where I feel like I get a connection, where I can vibe with people that understand me and know what I'm talking about and relate. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. Maybe that was a little more long-winded than it needed to be. But that said, because of all of that, um, when I say things to people that never heard of like the Nephilim or even the book of Enoch, or that there were giants in those days and after, because that part's important, and after, right? And these are people that say they believe in God and they go to church and like, but they don't know anything about this stuff. And then we see it now on the mainstream media. And I'm just sitting here going, this is a thing. Like, this is a thing. And I don't know. It was the same thing that happened whenever COVID started. I was like, okay, this is a lie. I don't know details, but I know it's a lie. And I'm feeling it again right now, where it's like, I don't know exactly what's happening, but something's happening. Why are these people saying this? It's like an obscure book. It's not it's not about being in like any even particular religion or sect of a religion, right? Like there's not a lot of people that adhere to the book of Enoch as teachings. Why are they doing this? Like what are they trying to put this in people's heads for? That's the number one thing for me when I'm looking at especially authoritative sources at the governmental scale. They they don't want to tell you the truth. They want to control you. They don't care about telling anybody the truth. They want to control you. Sometimes that means they can bleed you some truth if it equals out the control. But then, more often than not, it's just a lie on top of a lie on top of a lie that soon becomes reality for people, and that's how they're controlled. There's still people wearing masks. There's still people lining up to get vaccines right now. That's
Yeah.
an example of what I mean about. So what are they doing now? And this whole alien thing, I don't know if it's part of it. I don't know. I'm not sure yet because it seems it's fresh. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if it's directly tied into it, but it is still very strange that it's going mainstream now. And I don't know if we can tie in these scientists to that or not. Um, but the war's also still going on, um, even though they're trying to say it's not. Hang on one second. Uh, I worry that by doing the shit I did in the past, that years will be taken off my life. So at this point, I'm hoping I can gain some back, but I'm still going to talk shit because I enjoy it. Yeah, well said. Right. I don't think there's anything wrong with talking shit. I don't. What, coming from where I came from, and Drew, you can relate to this too. Coming from where I came from, if all you're doing is just talking shit at this point, that's leaps and bounds better than what could have. You know what I mean? Because we were, dude. I don't like saying this. I don't. I hate it. I hate that it was me at one point. I had a friend come on that knew me from the neighborhood, like drag you in an alleyway, like that shit, right? Like if you have something that I want, I'm coming to get it. Keep the doors locked. You know what I mean? Like I'm not proud of it. It's just the truth. Uh, I mean, Drew, you tell me. You understand exactly what I'm saying. Like you had your own different kind of past, and you're on your own path now. So like, does the trying to find a home, has that been hard for you? I know you've been going to church pretty frequently. Does that feel like a home for you there?
I so my perspective is I like the church, and I'm talking about the particular church that I go to. I sit in the back pew, the furthest in the back. I'm in the bleachers, and I'm having my own dialogue with God while also taking in some of the stories the priest is saying, or one of the parishioners is getting up and reading, a passage. And every so often, I'll find one that relates to something in my past or something that I've dealt with or something that I'm dealing with or reflecting on in terms of maybe why things happen or feeling like God's not listening. And like the story behind it will give me I don't want to say a new perspective, but it'll give me like a breath of fresh air to say, okay, I'm not alone. And I'm sharing this in this moment with this congregation in this moment. But like you said, I'm not fixated on, I need to go to church. I need to be in this big, beautiful cathedral with, 80 people filling the pews. Is it nice to feel the energy? It is. I do that more of like a therapeutic thing for myself. There was a time like back a couple of weeks ago, I was running around working, I shot out there and I just, my days weren't lining up and I didn't go for like 3 weeks straight. But I did have my moments of self-reflection, praying to myself before I go to bed. When I wake up in the middle of the day, I'm driving somewhere, the sun's shining, I feel good, I'm admiring the view, and I take that time to thank God and, show gratefulness for my blessings and, just keep continuing to give me strength. So I don't want to say I found a home. I get what it's, because I spent a lot of years, like I was only going to church for funerals and for weddings, and I don't really go to weddings like that. So, like over 10, 15, 20 years. So I go in, I sit in the back, I listen, I observe, I absorb it. It's a nice experience. It helps give me some strength to carry on and continue my own self-reflection and my self-praying and my own communication. I wouldn't say it's a home because when I move and now it's going to be a different church or a different, group of parishioners, now I'm not home. Like home is where the heart is. Home is where God is. So I look at it just like, okay, this is a place for me to gather. It's close, it's convenient, I feel comfortable, I feel at ease. And that's kind of the limit. I don't really feel like I was looking for a home. I was looking more for like an outlet of where I could practice and re-experience these things for the first time. The first 5, 6 times I went in there, it was very much like I felt unease because I was so removed from participating in church events and even praying to God. So it was a way for me to kind of get back into the experience. So I get what you're saying. It's not like I'm married to it in the sense where, yeah, this is my church. These are my people. This is, I could be in a chapel, which there's a chapel on the grounds, which is the old church. It's like a little house on the prairie church. It's not quite as small, and I could go in there and there's like 3 or 4 older, senior citizens who are in their, 70s, 80s, and they're just in there, maybe lighting a candle, sitting in silence, and I'll just go in there and just have my own time, and I'll say my own prayers. I'll reflect on my own thoughts, challenges, struggles I'm going through in life. I'll pray for my loved ones, my family, my friends, and their kids and their spouses, and just try to put out good energy and and look out for the people that I care about, and then I'm out, and I do my thing, and I leave, and it's just like that's a place for me to feel comfortable to open up, and that's really as far as I've gone. It's not like a place where in my younger years my family was like, well, this is our church, these are our
Well,
this
hold
is
on. Let me hold you up for just for 1 second, okay? Firstly, I just wanted to say, Q, we may be like kindred spirits because the last couple comments is the same for me. Like, I don't want to be around people. Um,
me as well. I've been reading them.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I don't want to be around people. I don't like going to funerals unless it's somebody I was super close with. A lot of that stuff seems like fanfare. You know what I mean? Like people are just, it's the thing to do. Well, I mean, here's the thing: they're not there. Like if you feel like you need to go and pay your respects to a corpse, I have no problem with that. I'm just saying, for me, it's like I don't enjoy it. There's nothing good for me about that. So like I typically don't, unless it's somebody that I'm really close with. And let me add this: I need to be clear about this, Drew. If I am not trying to say don't go to church to anybody, you or anybody else. I am not trying to say don't go to church. If you enjoy and get something from going there, continue to do it. Don't stop. It's just for me, I don't have that place even just to go do what you're describing. If you I mean, fuck man, if you feel a connection with God anywhere, keep going there. If you feel like it brings you peace to go anywhere, go there. If it levels your head, go do it. You know what I mean? I can't stress that point enough because I realized as you were talking that it might be taken that like I'm trying to say don't go or like
No,
that it's not worth going. You know what I mean?
yeah, I didn't take it
Um,
at all.
okay, good, good. Because I mean, I'm not trying to say that at all. All I'm saying is that like I've seen enough to know that like there's not one that I kind of fit in, and maybe in part because of the stuff I don't like being around people.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say this because I, in a sense, almost, I don't want to say I don't feel like I don't belong, but I do feel like I am in my own bubble, my own world when I do go. Like even when we go outside, the mass is ended, the priest goes out, he's standing at the steps. I walk up, I give him respect. Great mass, Father, thank you. I don't half the time I don't. They don't even make eye contact with me. So it's not like I'm locked into a specific building structure, a specific priest, a specific pastor. It's more for me like this is just I had the time, it's close, it's convenient. I'm here and I have to dedicate my time to God. I'm putting myself in a place where I'm here to focus and try to not be distracted. It's more for me. I'm not putting on a show or like, yeah, oh, this is the place I go to. It helps me. It's what I get out of it. And to just kind of again hear scripture and hear stories that sometimes I'm like, oh wow, I'm feeling that way, and this is a great story. Now I want to go and read that scripture in the Bible about it because I kind of relate to it. That's my my capacity of when I go. I'm not there trying to make friends. Again, I have no problem with it. I'm not saying it like I'm some antisocial introvert. But that's not my goal. My goal is it nice to have a community and be part of that. And most people where I live are not like-minded the way I am. Again, so that's not my purpose. But I get why it's like people would not feel at home and would rather just kind of do it on their own and be at home. I'll tell you this: the place I feel closest to God, and I've heard numerous people say this on like Survivor shows and like a lot of places where they're all by themselves. When they're in nature, they're in the mountains, they're in the woods, they're, birds and trees and animals and forests and rivers and water and just you feel like I felt it. That's where I feel most in tune and most connected with my spirituality, whether that's God or whatever it is. So just to kind of like throw that 2 cents in there.
No, I mean, I agree with you, and I say it often that like when I'm on my property, I feel like I'm. This is the best way I can put this. When I was describing like a home, right? Um, for me, it's my purpose. Like, for some reason, I feel God has directed me to do what I'm doing. Like that, that's for a reason. It's not just about like self gratification. And when I'm there doing it is when I feel most connected. Because just for context, I bought acreage that was just woods. There was no clearing. There wasn't even a road. Uh, there used to be houses back here many years ago, but it's just all woods. So like when I started, it was so thick. If you can imagine bushes in front of a house, you know, people put those. They're called like wild privets or something like that. They get real tall. People shape them and shit, right? Well, a lot of people put them in front of their houses, and if you're in a wooded area where there used to be houses that were knocked down, but the bushes are still there, they've now seeded everything, right? So like they're everywhere, and you can barely even walk through. That's how thick it is. So when I bought the property, like we could barely even get off of the open areas and into the woods. If that does that make sense? Like so, the process of me doing that has, and you've been up there, so you can see it. Like like if you can imagine where the building is and where all that other stuff is, you can't walk through it. Like that's what it used to be. There was nothing there but massive trees and a ton of bushes that you didn't want to walk through, and a lot of ticks. Uh, so I mean, it's almost like I feel myself like that's my purpose. And the reason that I bring that part up is because it's besides me having my family, uh, that is a purpose that I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. And I know of people that feel like they don't have a purpose in this world. And I can't imagine that. I can't imagine having like taking the next step in this huge process, right? Like I can't imagine just get up, go to work, come home, eat, go to sleep, repeat, right? With no other focus other than that. Because for me, I'm all in. Like I put everything into this, like everything. Blood, sweat, tears, uh, money, like everything, everything. And I'm doing it in with this in mind. It's not for me. It's for my kids. So that because as I was just saying, I was brought up rough. Um, and I don't even get phone calls from my parents, let alone anything else. I know what it's like to be homeless at a young age, broke, hungry, starved as a child, right? Like, I know what that feels like. And I will not allow that to happen to my kids, that it's like a generational curse. I'm breaking that curse. And for me focusing on developing this into something good, a food forest, a way to teach and learn and grow skills for them. Like they get to watch this happen. They help while it's happening to the scale that they can. Um, and just that process. And then when I'm gone, that's theirs to do what they want with. Um, you just think like if a relative or your father left you a food forest, and we're coming into an age now where food is getting pretty fucking expensive. And even good food, right? Because it's almost all laden with poison or plastic, right?
Yeah.
So, like, more than just all of that, it's actually good food that can be made on this property. There's a few more things. I mean, like, I won't go into great detail, but like that, I feel like is my purpose, is to do this with the time that I have left. And I don't know, I could not, I would not be happy if I didn't have some purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get this is why I go fishing. I'm out in the woods every day. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm looking forward to once I get out of this shithole city. The days I could wake up and have, trees and grass and fresh air and, space, and it's not, helicopters and ambulances and cop cars and neighbors yelling and all that other craziness. And I live in a good area now. As I got older, and invested and got out of where I was raised. But Yeah, that I can't wait to get to that point. It's just it I think it changes, especially over time, it changes your mentality. Like when you wake up every day living in a certain environment, even though you're not participating and you're not, actively wanting to go out and do anything wrong. Like when I walk out my house in the city, I walk out with a mindset that if I was living in a more rural area for months and years and then that became my new norm, I would not be walking out my door with that same exact, maybe intense mentality. There's certain things in my personality that I'll always be on point, that I'll never like slack and, not be mindful of. But it's definitely a different energy you carry. It's a whole different kind of energy throughout the day. And I can't wait till I could get to that point, hopefully sooner than later.
Let me show you something on that note real quick. I did a
Yeah.
short yesterday. I uploaded it. Let me show you. Like this is for me. This is it's hard to describe because of my past. It's like I still can't believe that I get excited about a garden.
Cultivate this garden.
Yeah, man.
All it takes is a rake and a hoe.
That audio probably sounds weird. I'll just take it's a song. But this is just where the little vegetable garden is that we just started to develop, and this is like goat and chicken fertilizer in the hay. It's been on the ground in there for a while, so understanding how good soil works and like how to develop it and do it. So in the beginning, there was a bag of biochar, which is somewhat new to me, but it makes perfect sense when it's explained. It's basically if you take wood and burn it at a high temperature without oxygen, meaning that it's like in a tube, it basically turns into a kind of a charcoal. So you introduce that into the ground along with this liquid fertilizer right there, the yellow. You dilute that and you water the ground and then you till it up again. And then I put this on top. And then it just happened to rain the following night, which is perfect for this because it starts to really break that stuff down and get into the soil, right? I know that in a week, this ground is going to be able to produce a massive amount of food because of the work that I put into it, right? Like right now, sit like that. This is how it looked in the beginning. Last year, we only did a little section over in here because we had just put all this fence and stuff up. This is what I mean about I'll do a 10, 12-hour shift and come home, go straight here. I was up there yesterday until after dark getting this ready. The sun was just about to go down when I started to do this. And, like, you imagine a 12-hour shift and then come and do that, right? It to me, it's because of the purpose that I have, right? Like, I know that, like, this is a good thing and I'm going to continue to do this. And the outcome is going to be fantastic because now, in about a week, maybe two, I think the frosts are over. But when we put the seedlings that we have in the ground up there, that soil is going to be so rich that it's going to produce a lot of food. And right behind there is an orchard that I planted with like 30 different fruit trees. Peaches, apples. There's a plum tree that never produces anything. I got to figure that out. But I mean, and we, goats and chickens, right? You know what I'm saying? And I still have much more acreage that needs to be cleared to expand on that. And that's the work that I have to do all of the time. Like I go to my job to get income to fund and fuel this and do the work and teach my kids while I'm doing it about it so that when I'm gone, they have this thing that's at the very least going to be semi-accomplished, if not accomplished by the time that I'm done. And right now, like, that is my purpose for what I'm doing here. And I love that shit, dude. I love that shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird for me to say, I just said this to my wife yesterday, that I'm excited about a garden. If I can't stress this part enough about who I used to be. And to picture that, you know, like at my age now, from when I was in maybe my teenage years or early 20s, ever saying that I was excited about a garden would be crazy talk. So, you know, I say all that to make the point that, like, if the change can happen regardless, and it can be amazing how big the change is whenever, for me, I just started doing the right thing. Like 15 years of this, just doing the right thing. Stay focused, put your nose down, do the work, get it done. It's not about me, it's about other people. And like, just right now is one of these opportunities where I can pop my head up and turn around and look around at the progress that we made. And as I was just describing, that place didn't have a road. That place didn't have any opening at all. Now we have a small food forest, a decent building that's like off grid, which is, in my mind, like, I love that idea too, where like you're not dependent on this system that I'm raging against right now, because I produce my own power. I produce, we gather rainwater, right? You know, like I'm right on the verge of that place being 100% self-sufficient. I am so dedicated to this that I was just telling Drew not too long ago, I'm by hand going to start digging a well because it costs too much. It could be anywhere from $20,000 to $80,000, and they can't give you an amount to actually go drill the well, because after a certain amount, 1,000 feet, I think, they start charging you by the foot. So it's like, I don't have up to 80 grand sitting around. I can't. What sense would it make to be like, I have 40, let's see what we can do, and it still doesn't produce water, right? That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
This is how dedicated I am. At some point this year, I'm going to start with a pick and axe, maybe some kind of auger. I have a post hole digger. I'm going to dig it, and I'm going to see how far I can get and what I can do. Maybe if I'm real lucky, you know, I actually find a place where there's water. All that said, I'm trying to relay that things are happening in this world that I think are going to bring some pretty big changes. And I highly doubt most people are going to be ready for it. I highly doubt that anybody has any clue what's going to happen when they do whatever it is that they have planned. Like, I don't think. And just, I guess, to change the subject, where are all those hot chicks for Mondani at, Drew?
You know, I had some videos pulled up about shit going on here in New York. Yeah, the hot girls, especially in that category, I don't know if you could say they have a half a brain cell, maybe a quarter brain cell. You know, that's a whole nother thing as you're talking about having a purpose, and you know, you're doing this for, you know, the future generation and your kids, and you have all that. And I'm just sitting here thinking about, which this could be a whole nother show in itself, the shit I've dealt with trying to find a life partner here. If I was living in most other places, I'd have been married with kids a long time ago. But yeah, so that's a whole nother, that was just something rattling around the back of my head, not to detour too far off track. But yeah, it's
show
just,
the video. Do you want to show your video about New York, since Patrick brought it up?
That might be one I have pulled up. Let me see, because I pulled up like 15 of them. Well, this is okay. So this is in Italy. This was Italy. A bunch of Italian citizens beating the shit out of a illegal immigrant who was like punching out some old lady, and I just thought it would be good content to kind of like throw shit on the wall. I don't know if this is something you want to play. You want me to pull something?
Go ahead, play it. Go ahead.
Oh wait, I gotta go to my live video here and do it. Okay, I'm learning. I'm getting this. Okay.
Can put it on the screen, but if it's your share, you gotta play it.
Ha scippato una vecchietta sto pezzo di merda. Oh, macchina che mi fila! Oh! Mortacci tua! Ha scippato una vecchietta sta merda, va!
I hit him over the head with the bicycle helmet, with the motorcycle helmet.
Ma macchina di mia figlia, porco Dio. Porco de Dio.
Sound like she said that's a good deal.
Cristo
Yeah, I wish I spoke
addolorato. Oh, levami da qua macchina! Oh!
If this is your first time
Nice.
coming across my page, all we do here is
Pause that gay guy.
Yeah.
What was the context for that? What did they catch him doing? Trying to steal something?
No, he apparently assaulted an elderly woman. Like he just pushed her off a bike, or he
Oh, shit.
on her, or he did something, and they were not fucking having it. And he still, to me, he got off very light. When I was growing up, where I came from, if you did any kind of disrespectful thing to a young girl, a woman, an old person, you were getting beat up like that, and they weren't stopping until you weren't moving, and they were pulling your shoes, your pants, your shirt. You were getting sent home in your underwear, assuming you could get away, get up and walk away yourself. So
Let me tell you real quick, funny story. I was just working. There was a black-owned. It was like a restaurant takeout business. You know, like the kind that's like the barbecued chicken and greens type place, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I go in there. There's a problem with their socket, so I go in there and I'm talking to the owners. This older black dude. I mean, he's only probably a little bit older than me, but we got to talking. Because I told him, I was like, I got to turn it off. He's like, we don't open till 11, so can you get it done before then? I'm like, I got you. So I get started, and then he comes out to check on me, and we start busting it up a little bit. But we was saying the same thing, that like these dudes now, these younger dudes, it's something else, right? Like it's something else. Like, like I push an old lady over, shoot randomly into crowds, like it's something else. Like because him and I were talking, it's like, I just told you I'm from the streets, right? Like when you talk to another person that's from the streets, you can't fake it. Like, like he knew just from talking to me that I was about that at one point, so like we was talking, and I was telling him, I'm like, yeah, these, like, we did wild shit. Don't get me wrong. We did shit that shouldn't have been done, but it at least had a purpose, even though it was a messed up purpose. It wasn't just like random acts of bullshit that didn't make any sense that you're going to get caught for because there's cameras everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure out in New York, you probably see it a whole lot more. You had a fucking laser on you, right?
Yeah, a couple of 2 months ago, some two jerk offs in a car pulled up while I was sweeping outside, and I just see the green light like kind of flicker across my eyes. I'm like, where the fuck? And I look, and he's got the window, rolled mostly down, hood up, and I saw the barrel, and he just, I saw the light coming right at me, and then the light turned green, and the driver, who I couldn't see, they rolled away, and he was laughing as he did it, and I just went like this as he drove away. Like, yeah, like, fuck you, that's some coward shit. But yeah, that's not even like, that is not the first time I've had a gun pulled on me. I've been shot at. When I was 19, I was shot at, not far from Coney Island where I grew up. It was like something out of a movie. I was running across a 4-lane, it's called Ocean Parkway. There's 3 lanes and 3 lanes, so it's like 6 lanes of traffic. And then there's a bike lane and a hangout with benches. It's like 4 a.m. And one of my friends threw a bottle at somebody who was walking by. The bottle broke by their feet. The person got scared, ran away, went and got their older brother. My friends took a walk to the 24-hour bodega to get more, 40-ounce beer. And like me and 3 other friends hung back. I never drank. All of a sudden, a car pulls up. Guy jumps out with a hoodie, comes right up and points the gun like right in our faces, and then stops and locks on me, points at me. I push my friends out of the way. I'm like, break out! And I roll over the fence and run through the street, and I just start pop, 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 pop. And then I actually heard like the wind of whizzing going by me on 2 of those shots. So yeah, like shit like that has happened throughout my life. I've been stabbed like at a house party, hospital trips, all that shit.
There's a question for you, but as you read that, I'm just going to add, even as messed up and intense as I was and our group of people was back in the day, yeah, you'd get messed up for that. You know what I mean? Like you didn't just randomly knock an old lady down. Like there was some lines to it. Is more or less there was, if you were in that world, we might share the same neighborhood, right? But But if you're not in that world with us, we typically left people alone unless you got out of line. But like if you're in that world, if you're playing that game, it's fair game. And we all kind of know each other and different. This is why other neighborhood people weren't allowed in our neighborhood, because it was vice versa, right? Like because you knew you were looking to do something. That's why you were there, because you wouldn't do that in your own neighborhood, because then, you might be crossing a line. So when you want to do something, you kind of go into somebody else's neighborhood. Like back in the day, it was like we were inner city, dude, like straight inner city. And we were the ghettoest, whitest place in Pittsburgh. And the even the black dudes were like, they didn't come down there because they knew what it meant. Like the color of the skin didn't matter. But like, there was like those lines. It was like, that's the crazy white boys neighborhood. They will do crazy things. If you don't want to be involved in crazy things, don't go down there, because they've already proven to us that they will do this. And there was times whenever they would come down and want to just play basketball, but at the end of every game, it was an 8-on-8 brawl. Like every single time, everybody knew it. We're going to play basketball, and before the end of the game, it's going to be 8-on-8 in the basketball court, and it was fun like that. That's where I learned how to fight, street fighting. Like that's what I did. Like it was nonstop. We fist fought. If it wasn't every day, it was every other day with somebody. But you didn't go and victimize, say, like an old lady for no reason. Like that's what I mean about talking to this dude. I'm like, it's a whole other animal now.
Yeah, we grew up and we called it neighborhood rules. There are neighborhood rules that don't exist today. Back then, if anybody did some shit like that, it didn't matter who they were connected to. You crossed the line, you're getting dealt with. Whether they caught you on the street doing it, or the older guys went and did whatever they did behind closed doors, there was repercussions, and there were neighborhood rules. If you had a problem with somebody who was from a different part of the neighborhood, your crew, their crew, there'd be a mediator, and it would get worked out. Either there'd be a one-on-one fight. If somebody got jumped, like there was nobody called the cops. It was very rare for anybody to call the cops unless they were a civilian and they weren't actually participating in it. But yeah, doing like, if you even broke in and robbed an old person's house that lived in the area, there could be serious consequences. There are no more neighborhood rules. It's a free for all. These kids are animals. There's not raising them. And I think it was Cubertamo asked the question what his ethnicity was. If you're talking about the recent thing with the guy flashing the pistol with the green laser in my face, I couldn't tell you. He looked white or Spanish. He looked my complexion. He had a thicker beard. He had thicker, side beard.
Lobster. He was a top lobster. That's what he was. Do you know what that means? Do you know what top lobster is?
Lobster.
Yeah, he's from NDS. He's Puerto Rican. He is a Puerto Rican. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
But
all I know is I remember his laugh. It was dark. It was like fucking 11, 12 o'clock at night. Not that that's late on like a Tuesday. And I just remember his stupid laugh, like he got a good chuckle out of being a coward, because that's some coward shit. Like, that's.
I mean, I will say, even the rare, you'll see like a gang of black dudes. The one white dude that's with them, he's the one you got to worry about.
Can I tell? Wait, hold on. Now I gotta. Now I'm gonna pull something up from my childhood. Not my childhood. Hold on a minute. I want to, because you just made that comment. Hold on a second. Let me see if I could even. I don't even really want to put this shit out online like that, but whatever you talk.
What are you doing? What do you mean? What are you putting on?
You made the comment about the one white guy with all the black dudes is trouble. So I got one.
He's there because that's the craziest one. He's the one. He's like the pit bull. Like, like he's there because they know.
Yeah,
they know what it is.
Throw that up on the screen. And this is one of the worst drug projects in Brooklyn South back in 2002, 2003. All right, we could take that down. I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Wait. Are you in this or something?
Yeah, this is.
Wait.
I'm right there with the Ruger sweater on.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. And
Who are those people?
They were guys I grew up with from the projects, because where I grew up, You had the white boy neighborhood, and then right across from the train tracks was the projects, and then one train stop was Coney Island, and everybody went to the same school because it was school districting.
Sorry, I was just saying hi to somebody. Keep going.
Yeah, so that in the school district thing, by your zip code, your postal code dictated where you went to school. So I went to school. You know, I didn't. You know, it was some real street shit going on in the schools. And from a very young age, my ghetto pass was valid. 24/7, 365. I could go to any project building, any time of the day, any time of the night by myself. I knew the right people. The right people knew me. And it was, it was a survival skill because there was a lot of quote unquote white boys who couldn't cross over that line and go through there even early in the morning. They were like terrified. That projects was the worst in Brooklyn South for narcotics. And when that whole blood and Crip thing came over from the West Coast, that area, it was big in that area. So for you to be out over there and get respect and never get robbed, or if you got robbed, or if somebody tried to rob you, they learned quickly that that was a bad idea. You were somebody to not play with. So.
Listen, Q has a comment for you, and before you say anything, I'm just going to reiterate.
Hey, I'm Italian.
Banger bucks, banger bucks. Look, that could have just won you $10, right? So, banger bucks for anybody that doesn't know. Send a Rumble rant for $1. I think $1 is the minimum. Send a Rumble rant for $1. Talk shit on somebody. Whoever has the best one, I'll PayPal you $10 at the end of the show. That could have been one. JJ Hempcrete. What's up, brother? I don't know if you heard what I had just said, but we do a thing here where banger bucks. Send a Rumble rant for $1 or more. Talk shit on somebody. Whoever's the funniest wins $10 at the end of the show. I feel like I mean maybe I should just have like a placard up in the corner that has the rules on it, and just
flash or
because as people pop in and pop out, maybe they'll just be able to read it and understand since it's new, right? It's a new thing. But no, for real though, that's definitely true. The one white boy hanging out with the black dude is the one you got to worry about the most.
Yeah, it was funny that it was a couple of times the cops would pull up, and they pull right up into the projects. They don't park on the corner. They drive right up onto like the front of the building where it's a walkway. And they would, there was a couple of times they would give a look and like look at me like, is this the guy to worry about, or is it? And meanwhile, there's like 4 other people sitting on the bench, and this guy's who's selling drugs, who's got a 357 on them, and who just got into a fight with another crackhead up the road and beat somebody up, and people were getting thrown off the roofs in the early 90s. There was a couple of fatalities where cops were called. There was a body that was thrown off the roof. It was the Wild fucking West in the 90s and early 2000s. It was no fucking joke. But
so you guys had the rooftops. In the neighborhood, the MO was the river. People would get washed up in the river because the Allegheny River was right there in the it went through town. It's called 3 rivers. The Allegheny, the Monongahela, and Ohio. Yeah, I think so. But they converge at the point, and that river's wild. Like, we used to swim in there. Don't do that. It's crazy deep. There's undercurrents. Like, we would jump off these bridges that were 1,000 feet, maybe, before you hit the water. We had big bull ropes tied to them from the big cargo ships. I'm trying to remember the name. I'm blanking on the name. Barges. From the barges that would be tied up, they had these giant ropes on them, and they would leave some behind at times, and we'd tie them onto the bridges and swing out. And like, you don't even know what's under there. That's the craziest part, because it can go from 6 feet to 50 feet. If you don't know where you are, people would die all the time. So one way to get rid of problems was that they would get tossed into the water and get found downstream. And by the time somebody finds them, it's really hard to figure out what happened to them.
Yeah, water, a body soaking in the water, especially salt ocean water, it's hard to do any kind of forensics. It's almost impossible. And Coney Island, right off the Atlantic coast. Even when I was growing up, forget about it. There was always some body washing up. But when I was working for the city, I worked right on the outskirts of Coney Island, right off of the bay of the Atlantic. Hurricane Sandy, I was there for all that. And before that, and there was one day I was out there with one of the mechanics, and a prostitute's, hooker's body washed up on the rocks 50 feet from where we were. And there's a Mercedes-Benz car dealership right next to us that shares that port. And we had to fill out police reports, and it was fucked up. It was really bad. So yeah, that shit would go on all the time. That is not uncommon at all. So I get the severity of being by a body of water where that's where people go to get rid of their problems in a sense. That was definitely
The rats down there, which I'm sure you can relate to this in New York, but the rats down there were, they're like you'd think it was a raccoon.
Yeah,
At nighttime. Like if you go down there, yeah. If you go down there at nighttime, that's whenever they come out. There's sewer outlets all along, they changed them from sewer to drainage, meaning that when it rained, it would come out there, but it used to actually be sewage outlets. But anyway, they would come out of there at nighttime. And it was sort of like, if you can imagine, you need a fire, you have to have a fire, or else they're going to walk up on you. So there would be parties down there and everything. And, there was in the past, a generation before mine, they would shoot guns down there. I heard multiple stories about the cops would even show up and shoot their guns with them. They would obviously it's not nothing too crazy that they're shooting, but 22s, and they would say it's for the rats. And then the cops would bounce. It was a whole different
mentality.
It was a whole different world.
Yeah.
But look, one more thing with the river. Did you know there's a serial killer in Pittsburgh?
An active one? I did not.
Yeah. It's been going on for 30 years. They've been hushing it up. He kills all the gays.
So.
Hold on. Rumble rant. Meat Cavern might not suck a dick, but I bet you he'd hold one in his mouth till it goes limp. Okay. Well, I hope he's still watching. Yeah. It's been going on for 30 years, though, dude. And they keep denying it, but most people know about it. It's some guy killing off gay dudes, and they keep washing up in the river. They'll be gone for a while, like how I described, and then they'll wash up in the river, and there's always a consistent pattern. He went missing from a gay bar.
Wow. That's a long time to be getting away with it.
Yeah, well, just think about it. Like you said, right? Unless you, if that person knows what they're doing as far as cameras, they're not going to find, they need to catch them on camera or they're not catching them.
Yeah, we're in a point of time where, let's just say it's some Jeffrey Dahmer, luring somebody back to the house or whatever. It's phones, GPS, there's just, people go missing, then there's a way to kind of track where they last were, and 30 years is wow, I don't want to say this and it be taken like I'm condoning it, but he's doing something right in the sense dodging and weaving modern methods of finding these kind of people who do this kind of shit. Or it's just dumb luck. Who knows, but
I assume he's got to be somewhat intelligent. And to be honest, you don't need a super high IQ to not get caught doing things. You just have to not be reckless. So there's so many people I know that they're still in the life, but they're extra careful. They're hot in a way because people talk, right? The streets are full of snitches now. So the cops eventually mostly know what you're doing. And even when they're watching you, it's still hard to catch people when they're smart. But if you're working by yourself, like a serial killer might be, and, it's just you and them, right? Think about it. Unless there's a camera or somebody just happens to get away and knows who that person was, it's extremely difficult. And I mean, it's funny though too, because they keep it on the hush, bro. Like they don't want nobody knowing about it, but most people from that area, like my wife, she knows about it. Like there's a certain side of town where almost everybody knows about it, because that's where they think he's sort of operating at. So yeah, I mean, like I said, dude, I mean, it's really, if he's smart about it, he might not ever get caught.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, if he's working by himself, the less people that know about something happening, the harder it's going to be for anybody to get caught doing it. That's just the mathematics of it. You know, if you're in a gang and you go out and you do something and there's 20 members in your gang and all 20 members know, once one of them gets jammed up, they might use that, snitch on you. So like, it's going to be very easy to get caught. But if it's some, weirdo who's just lives by himself, or, just is really good at just containing it and not have, nobody knows other than himself and his victims, and you live in a certain area, yeah, I mean, I guess it's not all that hard to get away with that kind of shit. But that's crazy to think. And they probably don't want anybody to know, because it makes them look incompetent. Like, how do we let this go on so long? So,
well, they don't want people scared, or else they're not going to go out and spend money at the bars where this shit's happening. They can't admit that they don't know how to catch them. You know what I mean? So, like, they're not going to... This is the government, right? Like, this is what we were just talking about. Like, this is how the government operates. They'd rather see a random person get killed every so often than admit that they're inept. So, like, this is the scale that it works on all the way up. This is why it's just safer to be like, if they said it, we start off treating it as a lie and then try to dissect it as time goes on to figure out what the severity of the lie actually is, because this is how they operate.
Yeah. Do we have time? Because again, I don't want to get too dark or too brutal, but this is like, for an educational thing about the reality of the world we live in. There's 2 videos that I had from like a week ago that are just kind of eye opening, and like, I guess, a refresher of how brutal life can be in an instant. I don't know if that's something.
Bring it up.
We want to play.
Is it long?
I mean, under 3 minutes. I mean, there's...
Okay, go ahead, bring it up.
Let me see.
But this is why you bring it up. I'm going to add this, is that this is why, for me, I'm often trying to relate to other people that don't know what I'm talking about whenever I say in the streets. There's everybody that thinks there's some level of gangster from the fucking suburbs because they did something back in the day. But I'm always trying to stress to these same people that are now adults now to stop talking shit to people that you don't know, because you don't know who they are and you don't know what they're capable of, because I have seen it. I have seen what happens when you address people that you shouldn't be, like, because they don't, some people don't care. Be careful. Don't be out there fucking road raging. That's number one. Don't road rage with people you don't know. Let them go. Don't play the game where you're cutting each other off. Don't blow the horn at people. Quit flicking people off. Look, whatever you think, it's worse, because like, the people are more sporadic now than they ever have been. So, keep that shit in mind whenever you're fucking approaching somebody you don't know.
This is what I tell myself when I'm in these situations, because it's not about, oh, I'm tough, I'm not taking shit from anybody. It's like, do you have shit to lose?
Yeah.
Do you want to end up in prison? Do you want to end up in the hospital or jail over something stupid with somebody who doesn't have anything to lose or doesn't give a shit? Are you in that mindset? If not, stay away from it. So this is just a reality of, like, this isn't even the video I want to show. There's one more, but this is the shorter one, and I'm pretty sure everybody heard about it. This is the supposed illegal immigrant from Haiti. This woman walks out of his store. He's beating on her car. She's oblivious to the reality that she's in any fucking danger.
Hit play.
He's got a knife, kitchen knife in one hand, and a mallet hammer in the other.
Can barely see them. I see them now, though. It's so small on my screen. Holy fuck. Mm-hmm.
Her face was gone. She's dead. Her face, he broke her rib cage, smashed her whole fucking face in, and she stood there and walked out like, and he approached her like she was.
You can deal locally with everything.
You got a little muffled there at the end. That's your stop. Hit the You want me to put it back up on the screen? I thought it was over.
No, it was over. It's just some guy pulling up on a bike who just can't even fucking believe it. He's like, "Oh my god, damn!"
I thought it was you talking with a muffle, like something had happened, but it was the video playing.
Yeah.
No, I mean, again, this is what I'm trying to express.
If that's in Florida, so if you're not a concealed carry holder, and you see a guy out there with 2 weapons bashing your car, you're gonna go out there and confront him and risk getting hit with a hammer or stabbed with a 10-inch kitchen knife and think that nothing's going to happen. I mean, most people that we know aren't that stupid. But just to see her walk up and be like, "What are you doing?" and then just stand there as he approached her, just a lot of people are ignorant to the reality of how fucking brutal somebody could be. And there's one more I want to play that's actually, I want to put like a little bit of a warning out. It's scary. This is a police officer approaching somebody. He got a call that was like where they shouldn't be. He approached them. The cop was ill-trained and he fucked up, and you'll see what happens. And then there's an armed civilian who kind of comes to the rescue, but the damage is already done. And it's another one of these educational, like, fucking don't be stupid and be very.
The
careful.
female that got hammered in her head, that's a victim of believing that girl boss shit. That's what that is. Where you think you've watched these movies where you see this 90-pound girl go out and drop kick the 300-pound guy, and it just actually works, and they're inundated with it, and so they try to copy it. And I'm like, my wife knows, she's pretty level-headed whenever it comes to that stuff, but I'm like, just pay attention to, like, everything is girl boss, and like, women can do everything men can do. And I'm not saying that they don't have some skills. I'm saying we're in two different, completely different brackets. You can't fight a man and win. Get it out of your head. I don't care what you're thinking. I don't even care how trained you think you are. That skinny crackhead down the street is going to give you a fucking run for your money. I don't care what color your belt is and where you got trained at. Trust me when I tell you this, it's highly unlikely that a woman is going to find a man that if he wanted to, couldn't kick the shit out of her. But the chicks believe this shit.
It's not even learning the reality. I'm a man. If I see another man armed with a hammer and a knife bashing the shit out of a car, and I see his level of aggression and I'm unarmed, that already tells me so much about how and if I should even approach. So it's a state of mind. The mentality is just crazy that a lot of women think that way. All right, so yeah, this poor police officer. My heart fucking breaks for him. But again, I kind of feel like he made several mistakes, and I'm just going to play this. And this is, I guess, a lawyer who's going to talk about why knives are just as lethal as guns and all the bullshit behind that.
Well, I've learned over the years to stay out of the comments section when it comes down to trying to debate police tactics with the public. And a lot of you are ignorant. You want what you want, when you want it, how you want it, from the safety of while you're scrolling on your phones, taking a shit, and armchair quarterbacking shit you have no idea about. This is Jonah, Officer Jonah Hernandez. And maybe you guys who think that, police shooting someone with a knife, well, it's just a knife, and there's this and that circumstance, or the person was just this. Maybe you guys can tell this officer's widow, it was just a fucking knife. For those of you who just have no clue about police tactics, I urge you to watch this video and listen with your own ears and see with your own eyes the reality of training with a knife. I'm not trying to be inflammatory or insultive, but some of you are just plain fucking stupid and have no idea what the job is. I hope this gives you a clue.
It happens quick, so it's not going to be too long.
How's it going, boss?
Watch the volume. You might have to turn it down a little.
You been staying there for a while?
It's either
What's
on
up?
or off. I can't control
Is
it.
this your place? So you're the one who called? You're the one who called?
I didn't call.
Huh?
I didn't call, honestly.
And that was quick. Oh shit, he was breaking a lot.
The fuck are you? Huh? Fucking not even real, huh? You're not even real. Fuck you, wanna go down too, bitch? What? Fucking drop it! Turn it away!
That's an armed civilian who put the bad guy down.
Is he still stabbing him?
No, he's the bad guy shot. He's dead now.
Officer, hey. Hey, where are you bleeding? Oh, shit. Shit. Hey. Stay with me. Stay with me. Hey. Sir. Officer. Hey. Fuck. Yeah, I shot him like 3 or 4 times. He's stabbed in the neck really bad. Where's the radio? Right here. Shit. No. Civilian Crystal BD.
No, he's bleeding really bad. He was stabbed in the neck.
Brother, please stay with us.
You know, I've learned over the years to stay out of the comments section when it comes down to trying to debate police tactics with the public. And a lot of you are ignorant. You want what you want, when you want it, how you want it, from the safety of while you're scrolling on your phones, taking a shit, and armchair quarterbacking shit.
All right, I guess it's on loop. But I mean, if
That you have no idea about.
if you didn't see it, it happened quick. A cop got a call. He walks into like what looks like a closed down car wash. There's nobody there but him and the bad guy. He walks up casually, no partner with him. That could have been, me, you, could have been anybody, just happened to walk by. And he approaches the guy and he's like, "Oh, did you call? We got a call. Somebody was here." And the guy was like, "Cool." Like, "No, I didn't call." And then when he got within like 5-6 feet, he pulls a knife out, a fixed blade, double-edged blade. And as soon as he pulls it out, the cop panicked. Went, "Oh shit." And he like turned around to go like run. And it looks like he trips, falls on the ground, and then rolls over. As you see in the body camera footage, rolls over and the guy's on top of him, just planting a knife in his neck, in his chest, in his face. And the cop's got his hands out pleading, "No, please help me." There's fucking blood going everywhere. And then the guy's talking crazy. "You're not even real. Who the fuck are you? You're not even real." And then the armed civilian comes by. Drop it, shoot, puts 3 rounds in him. The guy's still, I guess, trying to reach for the knife. And he puts a 4th round in him, drops the guy, and you could hear the cop gurgling on his own blood, dying. There's blood. That could be anybody. That could have happened to anyone at any fucking point in time. And it's just a fucking lesson. Like, knives are no fucking joke. And unfortunately, I think the officer didn't have the training. He approached that situation a little too relaxed. He shouldn't have allowed the distance to be close. He should have had enough time to, before he was really comfortable to know what the fuck was going on, where he could have drew his gun and put that fucker down before he could close the distance. But it looked like he panicked and he tried to like turn to like run and tripped. That was just like a fucked up situation where a lot of wrong things were done and the bad guy did a lot of damage and that guy died. And the bad guy died too. It's too bad the armed civilian didn't, get there 60 seconds sooner. But this is life. This is the reality of it. And that's just something, it's a reality check. Like, you're not safe. Anything could happen at any time to anybody. That could be a guy who rings your bell in the middle of the night, some wacko weirdo who's just looking to rob somebody who's fucking drugged out. It doesn't have to be that, "Oh, well, I'm not a cop. I don't approach random people." That don't fucking matter. Could be the guy in the parking lot coming out of the supermarket while you got your baby in your arms. It doesn't matter.
It's a story about an infant that got stabbed like that for no reason at all. The lady, I want to say it was a black lady, just ran up and stabbed. It was a white mother with her infant, just ran up and stabbed the infant for no reason. She didn't even talk to her. Nothing was, just ran up and stabbed her. Here's what I'll say about, it's like a couple of different things. So just in general, policing isn't done properly in this country, and not for the way that I think some people might interpret what I'm saying. So the problem is the extremes. Like the video that we just watched is an extreme, right? That's the civilian attacking the cop. Now, that happens in reverse. And that's why these things happen, right? Whether you're dealing with a crazy person or somebody that just doesn't want to get arrested or whatever it is, it's like, so the rule is like, I want to say 1.5 seconds to clear 5 feet. Which is why they say the officer is supposed to be trained not to let anybody that could be considered a threat get closer than 5 feet. The problem is that, like he said, he got a call. Saying, here, I'm trying to put this tactfully because what we just seen is traumatic and it was uncalled for. Dude that stabbed that cop was a piece of shit. Don't get me wrong. But there's the reverse that happens where an anonymous person makes a phone call, whether it's to SWAT somebody or just to give somebody some trouble. And then the police show up and draw their guns on people saying, I got a call, as if that warrants you to be able to now put a firearm in my face so that, because somebody called. Because I've had this conversation before where cops will say, well, we got a call. And I'm like, you're acting like you just witnessed a crime. Just because somebody made a phone call doesn't mean that the thing is actually happening at all. Like people are fucked up. So, I mean, when I say that, it's because the way that policing is done in the U.S. is like, it's in between militarism and old school officer good guy. You know what I mean? Where like, there is some really good cops out there that just do their job and don't want to bother anybody, but there's a whole lot of other ones that, especially when they come out of the military, they can't shake that us versus them mentality, so it's violence first. And when that happens and people see that, whether it's in context or out of context, they see a clip of a cop doing a thing. So now all cops are bad to some people, right? So like, the problem is the policing is done completely wrong. You can't, the approach has to be the same and even-handed in every way, or this is kind of what happens, right? Like you can't have a militarized, I got a phone call, so I'm coming through your door with a tank, right? Like you can't have that. But you also can't have, oh, how you doing, sir? Can I get a hug? Like that's also not going to work, right? So like, but we have these extremes that come up, and then you're dealing with people that, like you get crazy people, and they do crazy stuff. You also get innocent people. So like all I'm saying is that the problem lies in the training. I've had enough experiences with cops. I know a lot of good cops. I also know a whole lot of really bad cops, and I've seen what they're capable of. They are no better than the thug on the street with the knife. They just have the authority to do it without any reproach. It's the other thing about giving them the where they let them off the hook. There's a phrase for it. Yes, thank you. Yes. Like that even opens that door even more because they know they're not going to get in trouble. And even if the department or the city does get sued, they're not themselves held liable, which is a whole other thing where it's like, how do you get to do whatever you want and don't pay any repercussions, even if you're found, in the wrong? Yeah. Because what happens is for some of them, they get suspended and then they come back, or they get fired and then they just go to another police department and do the same thing. Yep. The problem is it's not even kiltered, and it's too extreme in either direction. So, like that's where, in my opinion, where you see these problems come from, is that nobody knows what to expect when a cop shows up.
There's the line between responsibility and what's the word I'm looking for? And accountability. Responsibility to do your duty, protect and serve, which by some law they're actually not obligated to protect anyone. Well, that's another conversation. But to do their duty, see if what the bad guys are doing. There was a call, somebody's trying to break into a house or whatever it is. Do your duty, but then there's also that's responsibility. But then there's also accountability for when they fuck up and abuse their power and do something wrong and cross a line. I saw a video which I'll try to pop up. 2 police officers, I forget what state, they actually held the police officer accountable. Him and his partner went into a house. They got a call that somebody was a suspicious person was lurking around the outside of the house. They knock on the person's door. It's an older, elderly black woman, elderly like 50, 60, harmless little, 5 foot nothing, 100-pound soaking wet woman. Kitchen, boiling pots of water in her kitchen, and these 2 football player-sized police officers, 6'3", 6'4", 250, nothing to fear from her. You could tell she's a little like maybe old. I don't know if she's got dementia or she's just one of these kind of like she's older and a little weird. She's not doing anything threatening, but she went over to turn the stove off and take the boiling pot of water off. And one of the cops, the other cops seemed normal, but one of the cops who had no experience, no training, was just a fucking nut job, was standing on the opposite side of a divider in the kitchen where this woman could barely lift the pot, let alone try to throw a pot of boiling water in his face, because that was his excuse. And he shot this woman in her head, in her own kitchen, and fucking killed her right there on the spot.
Yeah, I remember seeing the video.
Yeah, and now he was fired, arrested, and charged with murder. I don't know how it shook out. It might still be in court, but it's like, okay, they quickly found that, like, no, there's no excuse. You got no leg to stand on to really say you have immunity because you felt threatened when any normal person looking at this, like, how did you feel threatened? She's clearly not a threat. There's something wrong with you. You're too trigger happy, and you just killed an innocent woman. Now you need to be held responsible the way any of us would. If we were negligent, whether we intended to or not, they would hold us to a higher. This is what I always said I don't like.
Yeah.
So if you're a person who lives in your house, your home, you have a firearm, somebody breaks into your house, you have to encounter a bad guy. You have to do something to defend yourself. If you fracture the law, it was 10 feet off of your property line. Well, my adrenaline was up, and this was a 5-minute thing back and forth of them trying to climb in my window with my kids crying, so I wasn't looking at that 10 feet. You're holding me to this standard, but when a cop does something clearly like anybody with any kind of decent training would have avoided that, and that was negligent and fucked up, they're held to this standard. So it's like, we have no training. This isn't my occupation. I didn't choose this job where I got supposedly professional training, but we're held as civilians to this standard, and members of law enforcement are held to a lower standard when they chose that profession and were supposedly given the training to know better than someone who's lucky if they never have to be in a situation like that. So it's like, it's all fucked up, the way we're held standard-wise to being responsible for being in those kinds of situations. It's a total shit show.
Well, I mean, and again, so it's the training, it's the uneven amount of expectations on both sides that is the biggest problem. Because even from town to town, the way that the police, city to city, county to county, the way that the police interact with people, you should, if we were doing this right, you would know what to expect from any cop that you came across, because they would all have the same standards. And, one of the things that really makes me kind of angry in a way at times is that the way that they can also choose on who they're going to write up, who they're not going to write up, who they're going to arrest, who they're not going to arrest. Who do you know? Do you have that little FOP card to say that somebody in your family or your husband is a cop? So that means that you didn't break the law even though you did, and that means you can get let go. So do you see what I'm saying, where it's like it's so it's completely imbalanced. And like, just even situations like this, like, first of all, cops are not they're not hired because they're smart. They're actually hired. They won't hire them if they're above a certain IQ, because they don't want people that will go, that doesn't seem right, right?
Yeah, follow orders, get in line.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get ones that like it's like room temperature IQ for the entire department, and they SWAT the wrong building, and they kill people in the building without thinking about it, and they don't get in trouble. This happens time and time and time again. And then, even the procedures, the way that they do them, they said we knocked. Kicking the door in is not a knock. But you know what I'm saying? Because it's an us versus them mentality. I know personally police. I know personally police that, look, off the record, they'll tell, like they've told me, we did everything you did. We just didn't get caught. And they still actually do some of it. But they hide behind the shield. Again, these are just people. They're just people. But the other thing that really drives me nuts is the people that venerate them, where it's like, oh, thank you for your service, sir. Yes, sir. Anything I can do? What way do you want me to bend over, sir? Like those guys, those people drive me crazy, because just because they're wearing a uniform does not mean that they're due any amount of respect. If they come to you respectfully, you answer them respectfully. But just because they roll up in a cop car and have a uniform on does not mean you fucking bow down to them. That drives me just as crazy as the people that think that they are due no respect at all and treat them like shit the second that they walk up and say, you were doing 90 miles an hour, let me see your license, right? But again, all of those people, they don't have a level of expectations. That's the problem. Like nobody knows what's going to happen when the police show up. Nobody. There's a video of a guy putting his house fire. He's outside with a hose trying to put his fire out on his house, and they didn't want him to do that. And so he's like, fuck you. The fire department isn't here. I'm going to try to keep this under control. And they arrested him.
And then
There's video.
You got to be worried about when you get in front of a judge, depending on what state and county you're on. If it's a liberal judge, you'll get punished for that, and they'll back the cops.
Well, I mean, and then you get into the reality that they're all on the same team too. So while you are lawfully in the right, they're not going to take your side, because that would mean that the cop was wrong, which means down the line or up the scale, they are wrong. And that means if you side with the civilian in this situation, that opens up the possibility for a lawsuit. So nothing is the way that it should be, and that's why this shit happens. The amount of corruption, it's just insane. It's insane. If you've ever been broke and you had to go to court, you are at the mercy of everybody, because there's this, I'll give you this one, you give me that one. It's not about guilty or not guilty. That's the way the justice system, especially in big cities, work. If you go there with a PD or a nobody attorney that doesn't have any sway, then you're at the mercy of them, because if they just gave the last case to the prosecutor or the defense, vice versa, then it's not even about you at that point, right? It's just,
yeah.
And law enforcement doesn't follow the law, and most of them don't even know the law, which I pointed out to a cop before. I said, you're supposed to be law enforcement and you don't know the law. I'm telling you that people are not allowed to just walk onto your property. Well, they say there's a thing up there, so we're just letting them go up. I'm like, not only are they not allowed, but you're not allowed, without a warrant. You need a warrant to walk on I'm doing an investigation. I don't think you even know how this works.
Yeah, you need a warrant.
And then they turn.
You need, it's a process.
Right. Well, that's what I was just getting ready to say next. They also know that the process is the punishment. So that's an open secret where they know that you might get off at the end, but it's going to be 6 months, 12 months, 18 months of you having to go through paying for attorneys, paying for a bond, going to court, missing money off of work, worrying about if this actually does go sideways or not, all because they know the process is the punishment, which is that's the other thing. There's so many facets to this, and while that cop getting probably unjustly killed, because I have no idea what the context of the situation was, but it didn't seem like it was right at all. But this is why it happens, because the psycho with the knife on the other end doesn't know what's going to happen next. The cop that walked up to it doesn't know what's going to happen next. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so let's just take this, and again, shout out to the law enforcement who do not participate in the bullshit, and they really have a genuine heart where I want to show up, do my shift, do a good job, morally do a good job to the citizens in our community, be respected, give respect, and not do any more. I'm not trying to climb the ladder, hang people out to dry to get a promotion, because you are I guess, the minority that is keeping some sort of civilness within that structure. And I've known a couple that I grew up with as kids that, after high school, whatever, they ended up, maybe a corrections officer or, court officer or, NYPD. And I've known them, and they say like, oh, I can't wait to retire. Like, this was a job I took for a pension. I want to help people. I'm not trying to go out of my way to fuck people over and screw them or be some sort of tough guy and look to swing my dick around. Like, I want to do the minimum. I like when I could go and I can help an old lady who somebody tried to break into her house or do something like that with is actually like a legitimate victim. That's it. I don't want to do all this, hopping over fences, going after somebody for some petty nonsense or starting to fight, planting evidence. And, there are some decent people out there who happen to be in law enforcement, and, shout out to them, as few as they are.
Often say is that there's nothing better for a community than a good cop that does his job even-handedly for everybody, right? Like, they're in the community, they know the kids that are in a bad situation that have been acting up, and they're catching them doing stuff, but they don't want to run them through the jail. So like they're trying to cut them breaks and they're trying to help them out, right? Like those are the decent guys, right? Like that's good. But the thing is that there's an us versus them even with those guys, because with almost certainty in that department is a crooked cop, and they know on some level that he's crooked, and they don't investigate because he's another cop. That's why I'm always like, look, if there was, the only way that there can be bad cops is if there's no good cops. Because in order to be a good cop, you equally apply the law. You know that this dude is on the take. You know he took money from that drug dealer. You know he's doing shit that he shouldn't have been doing, but you're not doing anything about it because he's in a uniform and they're not. And like, so you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I there's nothing better than a cop that can be even-handed and fair, and like, I don't care if you're the mayor, you're getting a DUI, right? Like shit like that. Yeah. I don't, like, because, like they pull, there's guys that's all they're worried about. It's another flip side to it, because I can go on and on about this shit. This thing is, I've seen enough of it that it's like, what about whenever they want to make revenue for the state or the city that they're in? Everybody's getting tickets.
You got to make the quota. Got to make the quota. Yeah. Look for it.
Does that sound fair? Does that sound lawful? Does that sound like it's a good thing? You know what I'm saying? But none of them guys that you might consider to be good cops are going to be the ones that stand up and say, no, we're not doing that. They don't. So, I mean, that said, there's still, I agree with you 100%. There's a lot of really good cops that are out there because I've met them. There's also a shit ton of bad ones. And this is how you get the scale that we're on, is that, fuck. I mean, you could be playing, like you hear things about like people watching like a horror movie and a neighbor thinks somebody's getting killed. So they call the police. We got a call. They said somebody's being killed. So it must be true. So we're going to come through the door like fucking madmen. And that guy on the couch just happens to have his pistol with him. So they shoot him. And it's like that nothing even happened, but they got a call. Because that's the weirdest catchphrase I've ever heard that's supposed to justify their next reaction. We got a call. Anybody can call you and anybody can say a thing. That doesn't mean it's true. Stop acting like, you need to approach this like, we got a call and I have no idea what to expect. Not, we got a call and they said this, so that's what I expect.
Yeah. And the 911 operator who's getting the call, and then they're relaying it to the officers. And, I've noticed something with human beings, men, women, more so with women that I've noticed. not to pick on them specifically, but the telephone game. This person tells this person something. This person goes and tells their friend. Their friend tells a coworker, and that coworker goes back and tells the original person, and it's not even the same fucking story that was told. So there's all this miscommunication and altering of the story. So it could go from the 911 operator, the person telling them, oh yeah, I think one of my neighbors might be fighting with his spouse. I don't know. It's just a little concerning. It's going on for a while. And then the cop who's on his way there, in his mind, from what he was told, is like, somebody's being murdered. I gotta jump out and pull my pistol out.
So go there and investigate like you don't know what's happening and not like you do know what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, look, Q is gonna get $10 tonight. Q, did you send me your PayPal before? Can you send me a request on PayPal just to make it easy? Because we're gonna wrap it up here in a minute. It's almost 2 hours. While we're waiting on that, I'll tell you a quick story. 911 operators. So out here where we live, it's a lot of volunteer firemen, right? So like when the bell whistles go off, it's people. There's only a few people at the fire station. So everyone else is coming from their house. So false alarms are a bad thing. Yeah, request it again, Q. Send it again in a request. So I'm not searching through my phone trying to find the right one, and I don't fuck it up. If you need it, it's 412 stack. And if anybody wants to send me money, you feel free. Same address. Okay, yeah, I got you. Anyway, let me tell you the story real quick because this is actually kind of funny. It happens every single time. Volunteer firefighters, you don't want to set off any false alarms. A lot of people, they burn their brush. There's fires all the time. People have fires. Where my property happens to be is in a situation where we got a call because somebody's seen smoke. So if you see smoke, that means there must be an out-of-control fire. So I must call the fire department. And then it happened once the first time. And they thought there was an actual fire up there when we were clearing the land. And they all come running up the hill. They're expecting to see a massive wildfire. And it's just me burning brush. And he's like, well, can you call and let us know? So I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't even know I should do that. Like, he's like, no, it just saves this from happening. Everybody just ran out of their houses, burned their gas to get here, and we got the fire truck down there. I called them every time I have a fire, and I call 911, and they answer the phone in a specific tone every single time. It's the weirdest thing. I put it on speakerphone for my wife to hear it. It's the exact same thing every time. They're like, 911, what's your emergency? Every time, 911, what's your emergency? And then you go, there's no emergency. I'm going to have a fire, and I didn't want to set off any false alarms. And then they go, oh, okay, that's great. Like, it's a completely different person that you're talking to. It's the weirdest thing in the world. I have no idea why that's a thing. Like every single time I call and say, we're going to have a fire, the voice changes from what sounds like some kind of weird automated, like it's the person, but you can just tell their tone completely changes. Like, oh, this isn't actual work I have to do now. Thank you. Where are you going to be at? Call us back when you're done. Like, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing, though, dude. Like, I swear, it's the weirdest thing.
Well, you're saving them all that time. So if they get 5-10 phone calls like, oh, there's a fire, they don't have to now go to that next step, involve the fire department, make a big deal. They already know, rinse and repeat. No, we're aware of that, ma'am or sir, or whatever it is. Thank you for calling it. So it's like, you're when the community and the law enforcement have a relationship, some symbiotic relationship, and everybody works together, it just makes everybody's life easier, assuming that's your goal, is to go to work, have a decent, good day, go home, and not have a bunch of unnecessary shit show up. So it makes sense.
All right, Q, your money's on the way. If you're gonna be here, just give me a holler. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes, make sure you got it, but it said it went. Just as an example, that's 2 weeks in a row now, because Q is the only one that wants to play Banger Bucks for real. So he's gonna spend $2 or $3 every week until somebody else gets involved and win $10. How about some of you motherfuckers get involved, huh? How about that? All right.
Yeah, I'm looking at I mean, I'm not reading them all, but yeah, he was firing off.
He sent a couple.
He was firing off. Good stuff.
Want to add one thing. Our guest next week is Mike Garamita. I'm going to bring up his website. This is going to be a fun sort of, I don't even know if you'd want to call it an interview. We're just going to bullshit. He's going to tell us some stuff. He has a very interesting life, I guess you could say. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fun stories that he can relay to us. I think it's going to be fun because both Drew and I know him, so it should be a fun time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good.
Obviously he's in the gun law stuff, which, believe it or not, is a wide variety of things. So I'll let him tell that story. But it's going to be a fun interview. He used to have his own show. It was on like a Fox News radio thing, and somebody bought out the radio station. But he was syndicated on like an AM radio thing, so he actually knows what he's doing. He had his own YouTube channel. Some stuff happened personally, so he hasn't been doing it much, but it should make for a good conversation. He has some good stories. Being an attorney, I'm sure anyone can understand that what he has told me in confidence, he may not want to repeat in detail, but there's some funny stories either way.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Q, you should definitely talk to him about that. You could wait till next week and fire off some questions if you want whenever he comes on, but he's coming on. I do not have Cash App. I have PayPal and Zelle. I could do Zelle if you have Zelle. But I would like for this to be a thing. I think it's pretty cool. If somebody had been doing this on a show that I was watching, I would want to participate. So that's why I thought it would be fun to try it out.
I got a quick question if we have time. I'm just reading through the comments. Cubertimo, there's a law called the Fleeing Felon Act where you cannot shoot an aggressor in the back even if he broke into your home and nearly killed you. You can't shoot him in the back. Now, I've heard that for a long time where shooting somebody in the back who's fleeing is obviously not a good thing. But if the altercation actually got to a level where they nearly killed you and your adrenaline is up and you shoot them maybe below the waist, in their legs, their ass, their hips, their knees, whatever. So they, I don't know if there's a ground, because I know in New York, if you're in an altercation, you shoot somebody above the waist, even in the arm, it's considered like attempted murder. But if it's below the waist, it falls beneath that dumb qualification. So that's something I want to look into, unless he knows a little bit more about that we could talk about another show. But that's definitely some.
Sure, is that it matters state to state and county to county, because like in PA we have a thing called a castle doctrine, and obviously if you catch them coming in the door, that's one thing. Running out the door, I don't know if there's I can't. Here's the thing. In this county, the way I see it, at least from what I know, is that if somebody breaks into your house and they're armed and you scare them and they start running, I don't think you're going to get arrested for shooting them wherever you shoot them, regardless. But that's just me talking from just some of the experience that I know about. Like, if they're armed is usually, when you're in the more lenient areas, what matters. If they're not armed and running away, that could maybe be something else. I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, it definitely matters from county to county. JJ Hempcrete, you got banned for life on PayPal. Do you have Zelle? And now I'm kind of curious why you got banned.
Yeah, I kind of rose my eyebrow like, how did that happen?
Owen, that happened to Owen. I can kind of see why that would have happened to Owen, but even though it's not right, at least I know why that happened.
Yeah, yeah.
No, hold on. Non felonies taking of my gun rights, although I still carry a firearm. Look, I was gonna not say this, but eh, he just said I need to talk to him to get my gun rights back, and then look at his profile picture.
I didn't want to call it out before. I was like, is that a 1911 45 ACP barrel I'm looking at? I didn't
Kind of
want to
looks
go
like
there.
it, yeah. You know, that will also be funny for Mike. But Mike he was a semi-pro baseball player, so averages are very important to baseball players, meaning that he doesn't like to lose because it affects his average. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, if you said to Mike, will you take my case to help me get my gun rights back, while if he notices that gun in your profile picture, I'm pretty sure he's going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? But hey, you never know. You got a lifetime ban on what are you fuckers doing out there?
And listen, always remember that photo is post dated prior to any stripping
Yeah.
of your.
Yeah, it's an old picture.
It's an old photo, so
Yeah.
you know.
Just funny though when you think about it, right? The comment, and I swear it popped in my head, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to say it. I don't want to be the one to point it out, but it's a Kimber.
Yeah, I called it 1911 45 ACP. I noticed it early on. I was like, oh, okay, I like that. It's a good photo.
Yeah,
It's the money
different
shot.
things. Well, I've heard different things about Kimbers. I heard people love them and some people hate them. I guess it's sort of like hit or miss. Like when you get one that works well, you probably love it, and you get one that maybe doesn't work right. Maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know.
On another day and time, maybe even off the stream, I'll tell you, because I almost got a job for Kimber. Kimber was based in upstate New York at one point, and I was working for the company, the firearms company I was working for at the time, which was in New York, and I was going to get paid more, but it was like a 2-hour drive to go up where Kimber was. And I had like a week to consider the job, and I wanted to take it because I would have preferred to work in that kind of with those kind of firearms. But it's just the money, the toll, the time. I never took the job. I don't know if they're still based in upstate New York. I doubt it. I'm pretty sure New York State pushed all gun manufacturers out over the course of the last 15, 20 years. But that's a cool story for another episode.
Point this out. I respect the hell out of the guys that do this. You know, you took the picture 3 days ago and lost the rights 20 years ago. I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for it. Exercise your rights. I'm with you 100%. Don't let nobody take it from you. That said, don't go out on fucking limbs and give them a reason to come fuck with you, dude. I got Zell happened selling CBD. You're not allowed to sell CBD? Talking shit right after Owen. Gammas. Yeah, for sure. I'm waiting at some point for something to happen from Gammas, just because I like Owen, and there's the people that don't are fascinating in their hatred that I can't understand. Like JJ would know because he's a bear, but like it's crazy. Owen to me seems just like a normal dude. He's a funny normal dude, but there are people that do not ever want to hear what he has to say because they don't like hearing what he has to say because it's the truth, and they don't like hearing the truth, and they get very angry. They do wild shit, like wild shit. And let me just add this real quick. Do not use Taurus handguns. Don't do that. Don't do that. What's wrong with you?
I've had experiences in my life, my previous life, with two Tauruses. One was a 357 Magnum 4-inch barrel that was like a Smith & Wesson clone, and then the Taurus PT 111 series, the Millennium series, back in the early 2000s when they first created that Millennium series. And there were problems with both designs. I remember, again, that's a rabbit hole, but I remember the exact problems. I knew how to induce a failure without doing anything crazy, with just like a normal shifting of the grip or doing something that you should be able to do. And both those Tauruses had issues that were a design flaw, and that always stuck with me. So that's all I'll say about Taurus.
This is the one that my buddy had was a Jam-O-Matic no matter what. And then I heard that from so many other people that I was just like, like why would you want to spend the money to gamble on whether this one is a fucking paperweight or not? I mean, if you have one that works, then, you know, don't go get a different one.
Yeah, no, if whatever works, works. Every company's got good stuff. It's just some have more problems than others. Not that it's, you know, they wouldn't be in business this long if they didn't have good stuff. So
JJ, and Q, for whatever it's worth, he's saying to tell Q to write a letter to the governor. That's a very simplified version of how to do it.
depends on the state. It depends on the, you know, the
yeah,
state factor.
and on top of that, there is a lot of steps in the process. I know it very well because Mike does this. That's what he does. That's like his number one thing. He tries to get pardons for people so that they can get their gun rights back. It's in Pennsylvania, it's a little more complicated. They would laugh if they got a letter asking for that. You have to have the right people take it. It has to be filled out the right way. As simple as it should be, I tend to agree that you should just be able to get in contact with the governor and say, hey, take a look at it. But you need to spend money to get an attorney to present it. And then it's a very long process. It's not. It takes minimum. If you're lucky, it takes a couple years.
Yeah, governor will never see that letter.
38 Rossi.
Ah, Rossi Snubnose. A 5-shot. Those are those.
I mean,
yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Oh, I cut out at the beginning of my Taurus rant. Let me just simplify it. Taurus is no good. There's a few people that have them that they like. They like them, but there's a whole lot more that say that, you know, they're not reliable. They never know when they're gonna jam. They're finicky with ammo, and if they get any lint in them at all, it's something about the firing pin or something. I don't really remember the whole thing, but finicky to say the least. That's why a lot of people really don't.
Yeah, and Q Bertimo's right. It's a Brazilian company. My buddy sent his so this is in the early 2000s. He had a PT 111 Millennium, 9mm subcompact, 10 rounds or 12 rounds, and he thought it was the coolest thing because it was the newest thing. And all I had to do was, because I saw him manipulate it, and we were out on his property in South Carolina, and all I did was apply pressure to the magazine up like that, pulled the trigger, and there was a malfunction. The spacing between the play and the magazine, the feed lips went up because it was out of spec, and it was rubbing on the top of the, the bottom of the slide that feeds the. It was a whole big thing. He sent it in. It took them 4 months to say they fixed it. They sent them back to it, and I said, try to recreate that malfunction and see if they fixed it. And he did it, and they didn't fix a goddamn thing. But to be fair, that was over 20 years ago. So, I'm sure their QC has stepped up, being that there's still players in the game.
Firearms have come a long way in 20 years, like a really long way. There is some very reliable, affordable guns out there now. People are now leaning towards like the fancy 2011s.
Yeah, 9mm versions of the 1911 design.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like they're actually really nice, but like most of them aren't drop safe. Like
you got to remember, 1911s are single action. They're not double action. So, they have to be. If that hammer's down, that trigger's dead. So it's a whole different animal. That's why they have that.
No. Here's the thing. It's the inertia. if you drop it straight down and that barrel hits the ground, the inertia on the firing pin sets it off.
Yeah.
And there's a whole shit ton that's like that. That's the problem, really, is
There's
that
no firing pin block like a striker block in a Glock. They
there's
don't
a
have
series number for each one of like 2011s, and any of the ones that don't have that inertia problem are somewhere in the 80 series, and that series is reflective over all manufacturers. So like when you see like SIG just came out with a P, it's one of those. It kind of looks like it's a 2011, but it's a different name. I can't remember. I'm sorry, 211 or something like that. They call it P211. It's new. It looks like a really nice gun, but it's an 80 series, meaning that you can drop it and it won't go off. Anything below an 80 series on all of these guns, if you drop it straight onto the barrel, it will go off if it's got a round chambered, because the inertia from the firing pin, there's not a block there, like you said. So only the newer ones that they're just coming out with now are the ones that are actually drop safe. But they are some really sweet looking pistols. I'll say that. There's no doubt about it.
I'll end with this. My favorite 1911 back in the day, was when I was young. I was a 1911 guy. Para Ordnance P14, the double stack 1911. 14 rounds in the magazine. One more round than a Glock 21 would take. Monstrous grip. My always thing is the single stack magazines limited to 8 or 10 rounds if you have like a Chip McCormick base pad. That was the one thing that kind of always made me not really take them as serious, even though they're beautiful works of art. That I will say. But the Para Ordnance P14 and the Wilson Combat, there was a Wilson Combat model I really liked. Crazy expensive, $3,000, $2,500 pistol. But again, things have come a long way since back in the day.
For the new,
Double stack.
for the new ones though, they're like the SIG. I don't want a SIG pistol at all. But if I was able to get one, I would consider that new one that they sent out. That's the 80 series model. It looks really, really nice. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you shoot a Glock chambered in 9mm, that costs $500, or you shoot a 1911 chambered in 9mm, that costs $5,000. That bullet's still leaving the same relatively sized barrel, going at relatively the same speed. As long as you do your part, it hits the target the same exact way. That said, I understand why people want them, because they are really nice. But my advice would just be like, buy something reliable, buy something that is drop safe, and whatever you thought you were going to spend on the fancy one, buy ammo and train. That's what I would say. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's a 9mm, 115, 124, 147, going at the same speed as it does through a $3,000 gun, as it does through a $500 gun, and hits the target the same way. Nothing really changes about ballistics with the gun. Not measurable, anyway. Maybe the barrel's slightly longer, and maybe you get another foot-pound out of it. But honestly, they are really nice pieces. But if I was going to spend anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 on a pistol and not be able to drop it without it going off, or even be scared that if it would fall, that it would like get marred, that's $5,000. Because I don't know.
That's more like a fancy. I bought this to stunt. Like, look how cool this is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because yeah. I agree.
You made one? I just got his shirt. Remember the dude we had on from News of the Pews?
Yes.
He had shirts out that just to help support him. He put a shirt out of the drawing of a boomstick, like what he's talking about. I thought it was pretty funny, so I bought one.
Yeah.
They don't look like they're that hard to make. All right.
It's hard to aim. Well, then again, 12 gauge,
yeah.
you're not really aiming it anyway. Just point.
And I mean, you're doing this. You're doing this with it. So I don't think your accuracy's going completely out the window. That's for close quarters.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
the wall. Yeah, like you cornered me in a room, and all I could do was just like ejaculate on you with the device.
How fucking crazy would that be? Like somebody comes through the door and you jack off a fucking 12 gauge slug on them. Holy shit. What a hell of a way to die.
And you better be
Right.
holding on to that pipe because I think the recoil on a high brass, quality 12 gauge slug, that thing's going to want to come back at you. So you better hold the fuck onto it.
I'll take a picture of the shirt. I'll send it to you in a DM on X tomorrow. It literally shows the sizes, dimensions, and like the layout on it. That's why I thought it was funny, but it's exactly what you're describing, the same thing. It's just like a drawing of it. So like if you wanted to make one, you kind of have a blueprint. All right, listen, it's almost 2.5 hours now. How about you shut the fuck up, huh? All right. Okay, so Q1 again. I'm deeply disappointed with the lack of involvement. I hope that ticks up. Looking forward to next week. I'm going to add this. And I don't want to jinx this, but I really want to say it. Crow 777 has made a commitment to come on the show. We're looking at 5:11 in the afternoon, though. It's going to be like a 2:30 show. And Owen, he's coming, but I'm not pressing him because he's doing me a favor. I feel like an asshole if I keep trying to like reach out and what about this day? What about that day? So he's coming. I think it might be sooner rather than later. So stay tuned. Owen Benjamin and Crow 777 going to be on the shit show. All right. Soft ass crackers. You're banned on Twitter? You can't even get DMs. I wonder what for. I mean, I'm not really all that surprised. Yeah, right. Hey, JJ, listen. I've been a Crow fan for years. The fact that, like, Owen said yes to coming on and Crow said yes to coming on and we have a date is mind-blowing for me. Like, crazy, dude. Like, I can't... It's wild. Wild, man, wild. It's, yeah. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for participating. This is going to be fun going forward. How did Q get banned? I don't know. I don't know how he got banned. I'm curious myself. All right, well, I'll send you the picture then. How about that? I'll send you the picture just so you can at least see it. All right, we got to go, dude. I've been doing this for 2.5 hours. It's time to go to bed. Drew, say goodnight. Tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at Shit Show Co-Host on X, and I think some people reached out to me on there that I got a shout out back that threw me a follow. So thank you if any of them are in here tonight. And Luminary Mixdown on IG. And thank you for everybody who tuned in, and look forward to next time.
Oh yeah, I guess that'll do it, Q.
Yeah.
He told somebody to kill themselves. All right, you guys have a good night. We have some really interesting guests coming up. Come back next week. Play Banger Bucks. That was the shit show. You guys have a good night.